Welcome to the Be Amazing podcast. On this show, we'll give you the fuel you need through motivational pep talks, the fitness tips to be your healthiest self, fortitude to push through the hardships, and focus you need to build the skills needed for the next level, no matter what that looks like to you. I'm your host, Cel Smart. I'm a wife, a mom, community leader, and fitness professional of over 18 years. I'm here to be your biggest cheerleader, advocate, and connector. Let's be amazing together. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Be Amazing podcast. I am here today with my friend from the multifamily industry. Her name is Courtney Barnes. We actually met, fall of last year. I think is how we met.
Yep.
And I knew I connected with you right off the bat. I was like, there was something about you that we immediately connected on. And we ended up, it was fun. We ended up, I think we were at a trade show together. And the next day we went and worked out together.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing that was super fun. But there were a lot of other things about you that I felt really was a connection piece for us. But before we dive into that and dive into career and all those things, tell us a little bit about who is Courtney?
Who am I? I don't know. No. So I'm a full-time mom, full-time wife, and I work full-time. So that's really fun to figure out how to get, 40 hours times 3 in the day, which is impossible. So I have 3 boys, 1, 6, and 8. I've been married for 10 years, and I work for APCO. I've only been with APCO for a little bit under a year, and just really trying to balance it all every day and be the best Courtney that I can be to my kids and my husband and my career. So.
And just kind of keep it all together. Because
Absolutely.
It's a juggling act.
Absolutely.
Every day.
One day at a time. There's enough worries today. Don't worry about tomorrow, right?
That's it.
One day at a time.
1 hour at a time.
Exactly.
So and that's what was so, when we were talking about the podcast and
Mm-hmm.
I asked you to be a guest, because I felt like there was a lot of things that you could share
Absolutely.
that we all can identify with, and
Mm-hmm.
some more than others because you have young children.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your age, the ages of the kids again.
Yep. So my youngest, he'll be 2 in April. And then I have a middle child, he's 6. And then I have an 8-year-old, he'll be 9 in April. And yes, all their names sound very similar, but we have a Preston and we have a Princeton, and then we just kept having boys. So we had to keep going with the trend, and then we had a Kingston, and everybody looks at me crazy.
I love that.
Thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, come here. But life is crazy, and I think as a mom, you have to just make sure you prioritize yourself every day. If you need a minute, tell the kids, hey, mommy needs a minute, because we can get, we can just we can't be the best parent if we're not taking care of ourselves. And I think that's what's really important. And this time of year, I really hate January and February because everybody talks about New Year's resolutions. And I know historically, being in the nutrition field for a decade in the past, that they don't really last very long. And it's because we have all these unrealistic goals. I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. every day and work out and run for 30 minutes and do weights for 45 minutes, 7 days a week. Well, when's the last time you worked out? About 2 years ago. Okay, well, that's not realistic. So as a mom, finding out what's realistic in today for you, with my first child, I did wake up at 4 a.m. every day and do CrossFit 6 days a week. But now, you know what? Realistically, I'm going to go to the gym 3 days a week, and I'm okay with that because that fits in my life right now. So if I had one tip for moms, is just do what you can and give yourself grace. If you're drinking 3 cups of coffee a day because you're exhausted, go down to 2 cups of coffee a day and make sure you're drinking your water first, So just figuring out what works best for that person, because everybody's life is different. And, there might be a mom that's a single parent. There might be a mother that has an awesome spouse or in-laws that can help. So just depending on what works best for them and being nice to yourself and setting those realistic goals is really important. So,
yeah, this is why I wanted to have you on, because I felt like you had some very important advice to share, especially being this time of year, and also your background. So I know,
that you are working for APCO now, and explain a little bit about who is APCO, what that's about.
Yes, so APCO, we're a multifamily GC. We've been in business since 1988. Our headquarters is in Concord, North Carolina, but we're licensed in 27 states. We do anything from CapEx projects, exterior renovations. We like the older properties that need some TLC, some value adds, so we can come in and make it beautiful. And we do a lot of affordable housing as well. So I wanted to actually read APCO's mission statement because that's really important to us, obviously. So APCO's mission is restoring communities by providing quality construction, excellent service, and competitive pricing in a way that honors Jesus Christ. And one thing that's important and different with APCO compared to other multifamily GCs is we're not wanting to just restore the physical building, but we want to restore communities as well. And I think that's where kind of my background kind of correlates with APCO is, my background is health and wellness. I did that for a decade. And my goal was to, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen more than we speak and find out what that individual's goals are and figure out how to find a solution. And I have a very compassionate heart to help people and know, what their needs are and help them reach those goals. And with multifamily industry, it's really important about building those relationships and making sure that nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's really important in this industry is, how can APCO find a solution for you? And it doesn't matter what career you're in, that kind of rule and that motto you can really implement anywhere you are. So that was kind of a long answer.
No, that's what's important.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this podcast is about, is to give you an opportunity to share about who you are, to share about what you do. And I think the part that you just spoke about, like what you do with APCO, and then how your background, because your background is not just health and wellness, your background's nutrition.
Yes, absolutely.
That is what you have trained in. That's what you have done. And the fact that you can take that and like apply same types of things that you would do with clients there into what you're doing now, that's amazing. And it goes to show that like everything that we do in life, you can learn from one thing and connect it to the other.
100%. Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about nutrition, because, we started out with at the beginning talking about this time of year and resolutions.
I love it. Not really.
And to March. Let's get to March. But let's talk about nutrition. So like what kind of, talking about busy moms and moms that are juggling career and juggling like, families, husbands and kids and and even their own desires and dreams and things they want to do. Nutrition is really important. What are some key things, or what's some advice you can give a mom right now that might be in that place of like, they're kind of struggling? Like,
absolutely.
What do I do? How do I do? Like, where do I start? Like, is it all these things? Like,
absolutely. Well, actually, this is the first year I kind of gave into the New Year's resolution. I'm talking out of two sides of my mouth right now. And I told my kids, I said, let's do a vision board this year. And I've never done a vision board with my kids before. And, I think when we incorporate our children into like, cooking together and, what vegetable do you want to try this week? What's your favorite color? Let's incorporate this color into a new fruit and vegetable. You got to make fun with it, right? So we made these vision boards, and this is a little TMI, but one thing that's really important in nutrition is making sure that you're regular. Are you having a bowel movement every day? And I have 3 boys, so 2 of my kids said like, I want to poop more every day. And I was like, well, you know what? I can't be mad at him. And my son was like, well, even your coffee cup, Mom, says it's got this stool chart on it. And I gave that to a functional doctor that I used to partner with my clients and my old boss, because like simple things like that is really important. Are you drinking enough water? Are you going to the bathroom on a regular basis? You didn't think we were having this conversation, did you?
We didn't think we were going to talk about poop, but here we are.
Here we are. So that leads into the conversation. And that was the first thing I used to ask my clients is like, are you going to the bathroom? Because that's super important. Detoxes, talking about hormones. Hormones is a hot topic. High estrogen is in a lot of women. It might not be because we're detoxing. And then I have conversations to find out. A client of mine, the worst I've ever heard is she said she had not had a bowel movement in 10 days.
Wow.
That is crazy. And a lot of people struggle with that. But, going back to the vision boards, my son said he wanted to eat more carrots. And both of them said they wanted to go rock climbing. I didn't even know they knew what rock climbing was. So, it's fun to do things with kids and setting those realistic goals and letting them, go on Pinterest or go on a website and let them pick out maybe a new recipe that you can incorporate that week, because kids are more likely to try foods if they help you make them and create those recipes. So that's a tip I would give, to moms to help them, incorporate those healthy eating habits. And just kind of start with simple things and trial and error. I have a son that will eat pretty much anything. And then I have another son that wants a peanut butter and jelly every night. And it is a battle. But you know what? You're going to try the food that I made and, just taking it one day at a time.
I think this is it's really simple what you're talking about, because I think we make it really hard.
Yes,
and I think moms feel really overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the pressure of wanting to feel good, look good, prepare food, try to, like you said, you've got a kid that'll eat anything and a kid that won't, all of these things play into it. So just getting the kids' involvement.
Absolutely.
And making it simple for yourself, because it really is only a season that it will be like
that. Absolutely. And finding a solution. So, sometimes if my son really wants a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I'll just sprinkle some hemp seeds or some flax seeds in the PB&J, and he doesn't know. But he's getting his omega-3s, and, figuring out a way to incorporate it is helpful. And you're right. I think we need to simplify things. Strive for 5 is another really easy one. It rhymes. Strive for 5 fruits and veggies every day. There's so many people I talk to, and, they would go a whole day without having any fruit and any vegetables, and then they would have this sweet tooth. And I said, well, you're not having any natural sugar from fruit. If you're not having any fruit a day, try with 1 apple a day, but strive for 5. And that's a simple tool, a simple tip, and then you're getting in more fiber. And, we overcomplicate things because, social media doesn't help either. Mm-hmm. Paleo or vegan or pescatarian, and I need to calculate my macros. Just figure out what works for you, and then just improve it the next day. Baby steps.
Thanks for joining us for this episode. We are excited because we have a new format coming up. It's dropping on June 4th. We are going to be focused on fitness, wellness, and community in the multifamily living space. And I want you to join us. We're going to have some incredible conversations with leaders in the industry, with community, fitness experts, wellness. It's going to continue to be amazing. It's just going to be a little bit different. So stay tuned, June 4th.
It just goes back to simplicity. It just goes back to, it doesn't have to be hard. Mm-hmm. We make it harder than it is. Yeah. With this kind of discussion and topic of nutrition, what really got you into being interested in nutrition and helping others?
So at a young age, I had a desire to really help people be healthy. When I was 12, I struggled with an eating disorder, and I was actually forced into going into a rehab. That was really tough for me. And although that's not my area that I like to work with, mm-hmm. I have a lot of really great referrals. So if there is anybody that reaches out that maybe has somebody who struggles with an eating disorder, I have a phenomenal friend who's a dietitian. She has her own practice in Huntersville, and I can definitely connect them with her. But I think that's when I really started to have an interest in nutrition with my own personal struggles that I went with, and being able to heal from that and survive. I was very thin. I almost died. Body dysmorphia is a huge thing, even now, today, versus, 25 years ago. And it's really important to, again, make sure that we're not controlling. Going back to being a mother, I want to be careful and not say, oh, you can never have sweets. because I don't want them to have that body dysmorphia. Oh, my mom said I can never have sweets. So really incorporating those boundaries. We have like sugar Fridays. Today's Friday. I'm sure they're thinking about what they want to eat today.
What do they get?
You know,
it's Sugar Friday. What do we get?
Can we have a donut? They're so excited about Fridays, but we set those boundaries because if we're too strict, you want to be careful. And I think that's kind of where my personal story happened is there were some family members that really put pressure on me as a child. Well, you can't be fat and you can't eat this and you can't eat that, and it incorporated unhealthy eating habits. But fortunately, after decades have passed, I don't struggle with that anymore. But that desire of wanting to help other people and educate people on how to just make sure that they're taking care of their body is really important. So I went to school for nutrition and dietetics at Western Carolina. I did my internship here in Charlotte, and I started my career right out of college and did disease prevention, weight management, hormone therapy, anything related to nutrition, fertility. I remember my first client sending me like a picture of her pregnancy test, and it said pregnant, and she was trying to get pregnant. She had PCOS, and I was just like breaking down in tears, like, oh my gosh, my client is pregnant. And my husband's like, okay. And I'm like, but you don't understand. Like, she's been struggling. And I think her daughter's like 3 now. So just, there's so many things you can do. Everybody has to eat. Everybody deals with, what to eat, what not to eat, high blood pressure, stress management. And I think that's where I can incorporate this into the multifamily industry is, if you're not part of multifamily, you don't really know. It's kind of a cult. I didn't realize it until I got here, and I was like, wow.
You're like, welcome.
I was like, I don't know. And I also heard once you're in, you can't get out.
Right.
You're in. It's like a game.
Yeah.
And, but, a lot of people are servants here. And, God even talks about in the Bible, like, we're here to serve our community. And, that's what I really want to do is how can I use the tools that God has given me and my desires to serve the community in the current job that I'm in. And right now that is building relationships with owners and management companies and developers and anybody in the multifamily industry of how can I serve you? And then what's that bigger picture? How can I serve the community, and incorporate that? So I'm excited to kind of see where this path leads. And, I definitely want to incorporate really still helping people on the nutrition side, even interpreting blood work. Like, I think that's even not discussed a lot is when I don't feel good and this is what's going on, how do I talk to my doctor about that? Seasonal depression is huge. And we all need to get our vitamin D checked, especially this time of year. And, a lot of times the good doctors we need doctors, and I'm not saying anything about doctors, but a lot of times doctors won't think to let's just check your vitamin D before we put you on an antidepressant. And many times I've said, well, let's check your vitamin D. And it comes back and it's really low. And that's why they're not motivated. And that's why they're struggling with depression. I had an old client text me the other day and she said, hey, I was feeling the blues, the winter blues. And, I was reminded to take my vitamin D and they went away. Thanks for teaching me that. So, incorporating those things in this industry, because I think this industry is definitely overworked. This industry is, there's a lot of, we really have a servant's heart in this industry. There's so many people that are really like dedicating their lives to helping the community. And I want to be able to do that as well. But, maybe I can be that voice to remind them, hey, have you drank your water today? This is your 3rd cup of coffee? Okay, well, let's talk about your sleep. Did you sleep last night? Oh, I stayed up till 3 a.m. Okay, well, maybe we should work on getting at least 6 hours of sleep a night, and simple things like that, because, in order for us to be our best, we have to take care of us. And I think that's big in this industry as well.
It very much is. And I think that you really hit on something with being able to bring in your expertise and your knowledge from nutrition, because I feel like there's a lot of opportunity there to be an encouragement, help give important information because mental health is so big. That a lot, like you said, not everybody's talking about check your vitamin D.
Yeah.
Like
simple.
Like
so
again,
simple.
right. A simple thing, getting blood work. Like, it's having those conversations, opening up the conversation, talk about like, hey, is your team, like, is your maintenance team drinking enough water? Paying attention to their food so they're fueled to do what they need to do. Community managers who are overstressed because they're managing properties and they need to take care of themselves, making sure they get enough sleep. So these are all things I think are so important because your health and your well-being is important.
Absolutely.
And so I think this is going to be a tremendous opportunity for you to like really come in and be able to really shed some light on some things that really haven't been talked about.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I am too. And I appreciate you being open about sharing your personal story. Because I know with women, what we look like, it has, and how we feel are really important. And when you're in business, that's when you show up, it's like, well, I want to show up, my best self.
Yeah,
I want to make sure I feel good, I look good. And then having those conversations where, I think, and I know for me, I struggled with eating, and being overweight as a child, and I struggle with self-confidence because of that. And that body dysmorphia has carried over most of my life. I would see something different than somebody else would see, because they would look at me and be like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I have no idea, because what I'm seeing is not what you're seeing.
Yeah.
But it's been the work I've done on my on myself mentally and physically, and finding that place of loving me for who I am, the body God gave me, embracing it. And so just having that open conversation, because it's real.
Yeah. Yeah. It is real. And I've never actually had the confidence or, the time to really share that. So thank you for allowing this platform to be the first time to talk about that. I'm not going to get emotional.
And it's okay if you do, because here's the real of it. Like, that shows the realness of, like, we all have things that we are challenged with and things that we're overcome. There is somebody that's battling that right now. Yeah. Like, there's somebody in the middle of it that's dealing with the struggle and not knowing, like, is this storm going to pass? Can I make it out of it? And it's these moments when we start talking and we start opening up, and it's like, yeah, you can. Like, you can get past it. Yeah. You're proof of that. Yeah. You're proof of that.
Yeah. Same. So good job for us. I love my body, and I think too, as a mother, it's a whole next chapter of, like, how do I find to love my body yet again, of having one child, and then you get to where you want to be with that one child, and then you get pregnant again with the second child, and then you got to go through that again, and then the third child. And with the third child, it's definitely harder. I'm not where I want to be physique-wise, but again, kind of going back to, like, giving yourself grace and loving your body, and, really speaking those affirmations into yourself. Because what we speak onto us, that's what our mind is thinking about, and really just, like, loving your body. And our body is a temple. We need to take care of it, but we also need to love on it and say, you know what? I created 3 boys. I did a lot of work, deal.
Yeah.
And, just taking it one step at a time, and being that support system, and the community needs that. And a lot of women, not just women, but, a lot of women do struggle with that, and finding like, how do I accept kind of where I am today, but also what motivates them to get to where they want to be, and being that support. And I know you do that with fitness and everything you do. So thank you for also being, a role model.
Oh, that's awesome. I think it's just taking from what, it's taking that love and passion that was birthed out of something that you were challenged with, and being like, I really want to help somebody else. Like, I want you to feel good. Like, as women, I want everyone to feel good, and look at who they are and what they bring to the table, and, like, how amazing they are. And I know that, like, I've had over the years, like, there have been conversations with women that just felt so insecure and so defeated. And because, like you said, they're not where they want to be, or what they've imagined, or what they've seen on Instagram or Facebook. And it's like this desire to be this, to look a certain way. And it's like, take a step back and like look at who you are, like look at where you are, look at the things you can do and where you can push yourself in those areas, but like you said, also give yourself grace. Sure. Because there's just seasons of life that there will be times where you just freaking can't. Like you just can't push right now. Like that's not the area that you need to push in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And diamonds were created under pressure, right? So, how do we get to that, to our best is, you're going to go through trials, you're going to go through struggles, but there's a reason. There's an ultimate outcome, and just trusting the process, that's really important.
And taking those steps and applying simple.
Absolutely.
Like just do the simple and just keep repeating those simple and just adding a few things here and there. Mm-hmm. So this has been an incredible conversation. Yeah. I'm so appreciative that you took the time in your busy life to sit down and like talk and share and inspire us all. But I want to know what you go to, or what's your go-to right now for inspiration. Is it a podcast? Is it a song? Is it a quote? Like what is it? What are you leaning into right now?
Well, I definitely love podcasts. Absolutely. In the field that I was in for 10 years, it's all about research and education. And I want to make sure that I'm still, sharpening my pencil while I'm also transitioning into this new career to make sure I still am educating myself on hot topics. And, that's something that's really important. So definitely listening to podcasts. I would say like my motivation, they're definitely my kids and my husband. They motivate me to be the best I can be. And just reminding myself that I'm here in whatever job that I have to really serve Christ and make sure I'm putting him first. And I think that's what, keeps me going every day is it's not about me and what I want to do. It's about how can God use me to reach people here on earth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Like we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about your journey. We've talked about your new career. We've talked about your kids. Like, is there anything else that you would want to share with the listeners that's on your heart?
Well, I'm definitely here in my new, field at APCO as the business development manager. Like I mentioned, we've been around for 36 years, but I'm really here to, get APCO's name out here. I really want to saturate the market. If there's any, management companies or owners that are looking to partner with other GCs, I would just love the opportunity to meet with them and talk to them and, tell them what makes APCO different from other GCs. I know there's a lot of competition in the industry, but just knowing that, we do have, a mission and a vision, and we really want to restore communities and build that those long-lasting relationships, and know that we're a trusted GC that they can use, and we're excited to partner with anybody we have the opportunity to.
Oh, this has been awesome. Yeah. And where can anybody that's interested in connecting with you,
Absolutely.
Whether it be APCO, whether it be a new mom that's just needs to talk to somebody or ask questions, or whether it's nutrition, they have questions about nutrition.
Absolutely.
How can they find you?
Absolutely. So the best way to reach out to me through APCO is just cbarnes@aapcogroup.com, cbarnes@apcogroup.com. And then they can just email me there as well for any nutrition questions. I'm an open book, so I have people reach out to me, and I got my blood work bag. What does this mean? What do I do? What do I need to take? I'm not a dietitian, but I do have a degree in nutrition. I've done my internship, so I've worked with functional doctors in the past, so I do know a lot, but definitely you want to consult with your doctor, and if you have a dietitian, awesome, but I'm more than happy to help and educate, and I just appreciate the opportunity to be on your platform and share my story. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you. This has been great. So y'all stay tuned for this episode. It's going to drop. Be Amazing Podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube.
Thank you so much for listening to the Be Amazing podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to someone who inspires you so they can feel amazing too. If you want to help us reach new listeners, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget, you can find the video versions of our episodes on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at the Be Amazing Podcast, or DM me at Cel Smart. I'll see you in the next episode.